I used to be an avid gamer until the age of 18, and I think that what drove the passion for me to fall in love with technology and understand that I can make it do whatever I want. We have a mandatory service, army service here in Israel. I joined the IDF at the age of 18 and got into a more of an operational role in cybersecurity. Think about going from a gamer to somewhat of a James Bond of the cyber world.
You've had quite a storied and amazing journey. Was there a moment that changed things for you when you were thinking about starting Token?
My passion is in building and in researching and creating products and so on. I decided to quit and start Token, which is my most important adventure to date. I think that everybody has the chance to experience things that are life-changing. If you commit yourself to a certain goal, usually it's supposed to be something that you believe in very, very much. And you also identify that you have the talent to carry it out. Then you experience life-changing things. Like people like to say to me oh, you're so lucky. And I like to say I'm not that lucky. I tried a lot of times. I tried many times to do things that I believed in. I worked around the clock to do that.
What's the big vision that you have for the future that you're creating with Token?
I want the company to make a worldwide change.
Ido, welcome to What Makes You Tick. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Really appreciate both the opportunity and the personal connection that we made together.
Yes. We've had a really good pre-chat, and as you can probably see, but if you're listening, you won't know this, but Richard is also in the studio today. So thanks for joining as well, Rich.
No, it's a pleasure. I was introduced to Ido and to Itamar through a good friend of mine called Eric. And when I heard about what they're building, I was like, oh my goodness gracious me, this is an opportunity for us to all get together and really hear the inside story of a founding team who are doing something incredible in the world today with a massive vision. And they've also raised some significant funding at Series A, which is really hard to do. So I would love to understand the human side of that story. And I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yeah, me too. So Ido, what is it that makes you tick?
There's this feeling that you wake up in the morning and you come to a place full of people that you really love working with, and that you're doing something that you believe that will change the world, and pushing what you do to a boundary that most people think that is unachievable is really what makes me tick, I think.
And you've had quite a storied and amazing journey, and it feels like that is something that comes through your journey in lots of different places. So would love to hear a little bit more about kind of your origin story.
My background story is that there is something that I love much more than cybersecurity, is online gaming. I used to be an avid gamer until the age of 18. And I think that what drove the passion for me to fall in love with technology and understand that I can make it do whatever I want. At the age of 18, we have a mandatory service, army service here in Israel. I joined the IDF and got into a more of an operational role in cybersecurity. So that's a lot of people, when they hear cybersecurity, they think about the defensive side, but eventually for the intelligence course and everything that we do here for national security, we also train a lot of offensive professionals, whether it's vulnerability researchers, implant developers, and so on. So think about going from a gamer to somewhat of a James Bond of the cyber world, and being 18 to 20 or so when you do it. It's really an empowering thing to give, and it gives you the vision that you could do anything. And I actually fell in love with that. Ended up advancing in leadership positions, building, training and recruiting those other kids that were gamers and that were hanging around like the internet back then in like 2029. It was not so common for people to know cybersecurity, to understand how it works. I think that I was pretty good at it and like ended up serving for about 13 years. It was a fantastic experience. I ended up as a lieutenant colonel, something that as when I joined, I didn't even think that I could manage people. I wasn't like so much aware, but I have this entire philosophy that I built along the way. But I ended up leading a branch of about 120 people, which was a fantastic experience and something that's literally life changing for me and also affecting the world on a national scale. And then 3 years ago, I decided that I want something else. My passion is in building and in researching and like creating products and so on. I decided to quit and start Token, which is my most important adventure to date. Building a company that changes how we do identity security around the world, focusing on a very, very deep type of identities that are basically running the internet. And we've been building Token for the last 2 years and just raised our Series A. So that's in a very briefly a bit about my background.
I wanted to go back to something that you said. You said that it was life-changing, right? And I think that in the UK, right, we don't have youth service or we don't do that. So I think sometimes it's a bit hard for us to conceptualize like what that looks like. How did it change you?
I think that everybody has the chance to experience things that are life-changing. If you commit yourself to a certain goal, usually it's supposed to be something that you believe in very, very much. And you also identify that you have the talents to carry it out. Then you experience life-changing things. Like people like to say to me like, oh, you're so lucky. And I like to say like, I'm not that lucky. I just work, like I tried a lot of times. I tried like many, 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 many times to do things that I believed in. I worked like around the clock to do that. And then when it worked, it looked like luck. Like, oh, how could you pick the project that would be so successful? I had like a million other projects that didn't work out, or how did you advance so quickly, and so on. But I think that eventually the main life-changing thing is that I got to be surrounded by the most amazing people. For now, like in the army services, was here in Israel. Now, when I build Token, it's all the global community of cybersecurity practitioners, and to bring the 120% of yourself to that engagement is what attracts more people, and that's changing my life as we speak. Even.
Was there a moment that changed things for you when you were thinking about starting Token on that journey?
Yeah. First of all, I think that a lot of the credit for building Token is in the relationship I have with my co-founder, Itamar. I think that he's a person that makes me believe in myself more than I do on a day-to-day, and like see myself in a very, very positive light. And also, I think that there are moments with our customers where the click is so deep that they start listening to you and like not deflecting your message, because like security buyers are very, very miserable people. I can talk a lot about that, but when they understand that you want that you really want their best and maybe could deliver, they start listening and they start engaging with you, and then you are like already together imagining what's going to be built out of this platform. So those are moments that change things for me in building Token.
I love what you've just said there, Ido, about the fact that Itamar sees in you things that you might not see in yourself, and maybe a bigger version of you. I heard this the other day on a podcast from Chris Williamson, where he talks about that's called the Michelangelo effect, and where it's the ultimate thing for a friendship and for a relationship, that you see the person for the best that they can be. And you need that because you're so full of doubt, and you've got these blinkers on when you're looking at your own life and what you're capable of. And we've got blind spots and all these things that restrict most people from achieving the dreams that they wanted to in life. What would you say would be some of the the constructs and the ways that your relationship with Itamar works that makes you such a formidable duo to be able to take this idea that you both had when you were in the military and then create the business that you've created today?
It's a bit of a recipe here. Like there is several ingredients that work together with like one another. One is like tons of psychological security. Eventually, not being afraid to fail is a huge part of what you are looking in a partner, in a co-founder, and that is a very, 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 like I can't stress enough how important it is to have a person that got your back and that would go through hell with you, even if it like in the low points, it would go very low. And actually now that we are in the high points, we celebrate it a lot. But I think that, that the resilience, the determination, and the perseverance is, it comes from a place that you feel certain that like it would work. It just needs some time. Second part is that I think that both of us have a lot of admiration to each other's capabilities. Like it's not only like allowing the other person to make mistakes, is also admiring how high could that person fly to, and like how my area is more like tech, product, and so on. And his area is like a very, very, he's an amazing people's person, and he can like make token appear and like sell to buyers that, I never could have adopted like that amount of both, empathy and persuasion capabilities, let's call it.
Yeah.
And the third part, which is just a little bit, but it's very important, I think that we are also a bit competitive with each other. And like in a good way. I don't think that it's in a bad way. I think that each of us are very, very overachievers. Like we want to get the best out of life and we want to be the best at what we do. And we try to push each other to do it as best. And sometimes when one person does it better, we celebrate that while also saying, okay, I'm going to get as good as you and like do it as well.
Yeah. There's this concept of collaborative competition, right? And you see that a lot, especially now in like basketball, for example, where you've got a lot of the top players, in the summer, they train together and they compete against one another and they push each other to be better. So yeah, I absolutely love that. I think it's so important.
I was going to ask also, Ido, about the recruitment side. You talked about your gaming background. By the way, I am absolutely convinced that the reason I've been successful in business is because I was obsessed with a game called Football Manager. Assembling teams, strategy, spotting strengths of people, assembling this dream team with very limited budgets. I won't talk too much about myself. But
improving from game to game. I used to play Football Manager a lot. Like it's a business school. It's an entire business school in one game.
Oh, we should definitely do a podcast just on that one. And you said that you hired gamers, right? Because you obviously knew the strengths of people who came from a background like that. Talk to us a bit about that mentality around what you see in young people who have committed to excellence in something like gaming that makes them someone that you love to work with and someone that you would hire.
Yeah. Fantastic question. So first of all, I have to say like the main experience that I had is what makes the correlation between gamers and professionals in cybersecurity. That's an interesting like part because, and let me explain how I see it. So first of all, to the people that didn't understand it so far, online gaming is a professional sport. It's something that you can be an athlete in, even though it's not a physical athlete. And I think that like today, what we understand is that if you take out the physical part of a mental competition, you get how well is your mind and thought process could solve challenges. So being the first to reach the ancient in League of Legends, that's like the goal there, means that you analyzed a very, very complex moving parts arena and understood how how to create better tactics and a general better strategy than your opponents, and you're playing in a team, and it's a very, very hard mental challenge. Now take that and replicate that to building software or analyzing a very complex technological product for vulnerability, or in order to use it to your own advantage. I think that apart from the fact that it's a bit less fun, I would admit that gaming is much more fun than that. I think that there is a lot of correlation between those challenges, and that's why it's not that gaming is the ability to type on the keyboard or to quickly tap. Like, there is an element of quick reaction, but still I think that in the very general essence, it's problem solving. And that's why it's correlated also with success in the tech world, as far as I see.
To what extent is the type of game that they mastered in important? So what's coming to my mind is, let's say someone was a professional Grand Theft Auto player,
Yeah.
you know, or it was like a racing game, and it's very much like, you know, I am just here to win in a race. It's not so much of a team sport. Like, what's the correlation you see between the type of game and what that means in terms of the type of person that you're going to hire?
Yeah. Didn't think about it a lot, actually. You ask a very good question that will make me think also after our show. But I think that maybe I'm projecting like the things that I like. I like strategy games. I like playing. Think about that. There was this old game called Red Alert 2 or Warcraft or World of Warcraft or and so on. I think that games have two elements. One is in your your side of the brain that thinks strategic, and the second part is about your side of the brain that operates instinctively, like quick thinking. So I think it's a balance between the two, but the strategic thinking for me is really resembling like the world of software development and generally building technology.
So your journey, Ido, to leadership, talk us through some of the things that you had to learn going from being a really good gamer who was very good at technology to becoming a leader.
Okay, so in general, leadership for me was not natural at first. I didn't think about myself in that way. I think that I fell in love with what I do, all across like the technological spectrum of capabilities, whether it's research, whether it's development, whether it's even IT operations, whatever. I just love technology. And when I understood that I not only love it, that I'm one of the best at it, I started talking about it with people. And they got value from my relationship with them. And through that value, they convinced me that I should give it a try. Once I gave it a try, I started to learn that leadership is its own profession. But I think that a leader has three, let's say, steps of their source of power that they should come from, and like those steps are prioritized. The first part is the best leader is the leader that brings value to their people. Eventually, when you really help out doing something that those people, like the people that you lead, couldn't do before, or you go through a thought process with them and you help them out like in what they do, and they feel that they have learned and they have grown, and that you gave them value, that's an important, like a huge part of what the best type of leadership is. The second step is not every day everything that a leader does is give value. Second part is coming from an empathy place. So like, even if you don't have anything to work together with the people that you lead, it's really important for them to hear you, to see you, and to be able to confide with you and feel confidence. And the last part was, I think, and it's the least favorite part for me, is that sometimes people need a source of authority, not only a person that gives you value in what you do and is empathetic to you, but also like create some boundaries for you to work in. So I think that like in terms of the evolution for me as a starting leader, those were three big parts that I understood about how to do that.
I think I'd like to hear a little bit more about when you do start leading more than 30 people. What is that difference? What do you have to adapt and what do you have to change?
I think that there are a lot of research, a lot of studies saying that a group under 30 people doesn't need a manager. But so I tend to agree with that. I think that personal drive to do what you need to do and to collaborate could be very manageable under 30 people. That doesn't mean that people don't need leaders. Not everyone has their own personal strength in order to work in a 30 people group. They need to collaborate internally and so on. So everything that I said so far about leadership, I think that it works very, very well in groups of under 30 people, because you're just like a good part that drags the group forward. You don't need like a specific authority. You don't need like the title in order to lead them. You're just coming and like you're bringing fun, you're bringing knowledge, you're bringing like seriousness into the group, and it makes it work. There comes a part where like the group that you are leading becomes needs to be managed. Like there is a certain capacity that it's not a group already, it's an organization. And once you move to that step, you need to start building new skills around yourself as a leader. So when it was about after 7 or so years of management that I got to that point where I understood that I need to build my rhetoric. I need to build my ability to do some public speaking. I need to have a character. I'm repeating what I'm saying 100 times a day. And I think that there are several patterns of people that are leaders of organizations and not groups that you need to build, and like it's a step in your leadership journey, and it's a different one. I'm waiting to see how Token reaches even the next step, which I believe like it's around becoming a big organization and building leaders and like working together with you, but under your guidance. But those are like two episodes that are already identified in my journey so far that I can say that are very, very distinct, very not alike. And like for the first one, you do it very, very naturally. The second one needs some education and some kind of process.
And who are some of the people that inspired you through your leadership journey?
The people that I admire are also the people that I keep the closest. So I talked about Itamar, I can talk about my fiance, but I also like have a lot of good friends that are entrepreneurs here, both here in Israel and in the US, that all of us travel together through this journey across our career. We started back in 2009. We had a small team of several individuals that were all at the very early stages of their career. And along the way, we kept most of that team together through friendship relationship. But also I met a lot of I had a lot of new commanders and people that I admire and that I got to know through this amazing journey that I went through service. And today there are also a lot of them have also quit the service, and we're just like a builders community that we're working together. So if you want me to choose one, tell me, but I think that it's generally the community of entrepreneurs and builders that are surrounding me in my day to day.
I think what I would love to hear is maybe one or two specific things that you've taken from some of those people.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's understandable from what I said so far, but I'm very, very intuitive person. I'm a very, I have this tendency to be even sometimes a bit impulsive. I did take a lot of lessons in my life, especially when I advanced to more senior leadership positions of leading organizations and so on, of how much a process is important. And I learned the ability to lead not only from your personal attachment to a person, but also to create a sound logic around what your organization does and why do they do that. So today my leadership comes both from my stomach, like what my gut feeling is saying, but also a lot for my brain of like where should we go? How do we assess our situation, and how do we compare, or how do we position ourselves in the space, and what's the right direction? A lot of the commanders or managers that I had along the way gave me the ability to analyze and understand my situational awareness in a much better way.
Let's talk about this big bet that you took, Ido, to start the business that you have today. There's obviously two big drivers that drive people moving towards goals and then moving away from. And you took this big decision to leave a very strong career where you'd risen up to a position where I'm sure everyone in your family was very proud. And a lot of people would have said, you know, that's a great career. You could just continue to do this for the rest of your life. And that would have been success. But it wasn't what you continued to do. So what were you looking to move away from, and what were you looking to move towards?
When I finished my previous episode, I understood that working in a huge organization has its amazing benefits, like a higher cause and like something that you have like resources to really drive change in the world. But it tones down a lot and like smooths out a lot of life's colors. Like you want to see, people like to see life in a very vivid way. When you're at your happiest moments, you absorb everything in, and you don't want a smooth experience. You want a very strong experience. You want to see the colors, to feel the atmosphere. And so when I understood that my trajectory was to keep on commanding like from 100 people to 300 to 1,000 and more and more and more, I wanted to change that course and like detach the organization around me. And even if I build now something that would go to that size, I think that I wanted to start small again and like to experience things that would rub on my skin more. So that's what I left. I wanted to experience like the day to day much better. But I don't think, like you said, that I took a big bet. I think that I bet on myself. Like I think that one of the things that I understand from entrepreneurship is that people like to think that entrepreneurs bet that they would make a lot of money from their startup. Like this is you're betting that and if you're not going to get that, you failed miserably. Like, no chance that you do anything. If you're not successful, if you didn't sell your startup or you did an IPO, then what did you do with all of that time? It was a waste of time. I really disagree with that angle. I bet that the things that I learned in the last 2 years were more teaching than any other episode that I had in my career so far. I learned again how to build maybe a technological organization, but I learned marketing, I learned sales, I learned better product management from the product manager that I work with. I learned to be a better manager to my people. I learned how to manage my personal time better. I met, I think, 1,000 times more new people than most people meet every day. Every day I meet new people that I have the chance to make them my friends, my colleagues, my customers, my associates, and understand and like experience life to the fullest. So let's say that everything will go to shit. Okay, sorry for the language.
Brilliant.
It was still worth it. It was still worth it that I made the best attempt that I could to live life to its full extent. And that's why it's also related to the reason I left, is the reason that I made this bet to go to the entrepreneurial journey.
What I was wondering was it tough to leave? So Rich and I, we both worked at different companies, but we worked at companies for 12 years, and you were in the service for 13 years, and you become, for want of a better word, almost like institutionalized, right? Like that's home. Was it tough to leave and do something so different?
Yeah, I think that I left at the point that I felt that I could be, as you said, institutionalized. I think that before I trust myself to be a very independent person, and I don't make a lot of like looking back and like regretting things. But the hardest part to live was people that I've spent a decade and a half to build a relationship with. I miss those people, and I think that they had a huge part of my success. But I wanted to live my own story. So professionally, I don't think it was very hard. Personally, I still keep very friendly relationship with those people, but I miss them. I think that I do love a lot of the people that I worked with from my start of my career journey all until today.
What were the negative influences around you at that stage? I'm not saying that you had lots, but whenever you're trying to do something so bold and you have this desire to, get your skin to set on fire and see the vividness of life and all those wonderful, passionate things that you said, how much were people saying this is a bad idea? This is a risky thing. You're going to feel pain. This is going to be bad. Like talk us through how you dealt with that and how you deflected it.
I don't know if life's meaning is to experience joy all the time, or like maybe to experience joy, yes, but to experience happiness or to have fun all the time, not sure that's life's purpose. I think that I'm still learning on how to balance my career with a lot of other personal ambitions. Like I'm getting married in a month, I want to start a family and so on. And I do recognize that the amount of effort that I'm spending in this is like tremendous. But let's imagine that you are the hero of your story, Richard or Tolu. Okay. You are the hero that people have been waiting for to change the world. Would you give yourself some slack to have more time to watch TV? Or would you give yourself like another hour in bed in the morning, doom scrolling via on your phone? Or would you tell yourself, man, I'm the hero of my story. I need to get up and do stuff. So a lot of people told me that it's a bad idea because it would drain my personal life. And then I told them my personal life is doing things. It was this building is not letting myself and I like to enjoy more of a relaxed lifestyle. But I do think that I'm still in the phase in my life that I'm very, very much driven to build and to change things in the world. So
I love it.
I didn't give it too much thought about the negative impacts.
Well, I can definitely see from the way that you're responding that you're not someone that lets that stuff get into their brain. Jim Rohn says, stand guard at the gates of your mind. And I think you've done a very good job of doing that. Let's talk about this why. So you're driven by this big mission, this big purpose, this big vision. You've created a business called Token, who are doing amazing things, but you started from nothing, from an idea. You've created value in the world. Why did you pick this thing?
There are two parts of this story. One is that you can say that since we've been driving ourselves to, like both Itamar and myself, since we've been driving ourselves as professionals to do extraordinary things, we picked something that would really make an impact on the world. But the other part, and it's important to say because people don't understand that about entrepreneurship, is a lot of chance. So what happened is that when we started, we picked something that we knew that we are very good at. It's infrastructure security, like basically safeguarding the elements that are running the world. Like how basically if we dumb it or we make it very, very simple, there is a huge infrastructure managing all of our digital lives, and it's at the back ends of those amazing companies of products that we consume, like OpenAI has a huge infrastructure of their computer, Uber or Airbnb and so on. And we knew that we were very good at infrastructure security. We built nation state or nation grade products before, and we tried to find the most interesting problem to solve with that capability. And we understood that identity security is very big. So we started working on that. And 2 years later, the world also shifted and started talking about how this problem of machine identity security is so important, and how it's something that is very vital for security organizations. So now we are at the situation where people really need this. We already saw it before that we knew that we will be good at it, but we didn't know that people would see it as securing the parts that make the internet work together. And so today we are, I think, one of the, or if not the leading company in this area and in this category of protecting the identities and the verification process, let's call it, between computers and machines that basically run the biggest infrastructures of the world.
Amazing. I'd love to understand a bit more about that, without necessarily getting into like the kind of, speeds and feeds and bells and whizzards of what you do, but really about the market opportunity. You said this is a big problem. I know when I was watching the video about your Series A raise, they talked about how there's 43 times the number of machines than there are people. And most cyber attacks and most identity and security problems that happen, people find weaknesses within machines. But just talk to us about the problem, like how much of a problem is this for businesses today, and how will that continue to evolve as technology evolves?
So I think that today, actually, like the non-human identity problem is huge. What happened is that in order to build good software, we decentralized the world of building software to a million different technologies. You have so many different products like identity providers, like databases, like cloud providers, workload technologies, and so on, that for every type of the technology, you have a microservice that is responsible to run it. And the glue that connects all of those components together is identities. Now, think about the fact that you want to build software as fast as you can because it makes like it really changes the world. So as a software developer or as a DevOps professional or as an engineer, you go out and build it as fast as you can. You might not notice that when you glued this part together, you had a lot of security risks arise from them. Now your security team needs to own those risks of software that like you built, needs to collaborate with you, needs to even discover that like that identity was created and you made the integration and connected those components, and need to work together with you in order to secure it. Now, the most successful organizations in the world would adopt technology very quickly. And now the secondary effect would be that security teams would have to the challenge to both enable that. They want to enable AI adoption. They want to enable a microservice architecture, but also put some guardrails to protect it. Those different identities, different technologies are co-interacting with each other, and token is decomposing and like sorting out all of that intricate interactions for both security and engineering teams to empower each other in making it as secure as possible.
So it's basically, how do we make sure we can go as fast as possible in terms of innovate, grow, build stuff together, but as safely as possible? Because usually those two things are like polar opposites, right?
Oh yeah, when things go wrong in there is a huge risk. Like there is a tremendous risk. It's already like the number one factor for driving data breaches. It's involved in 80% of all incidents are researched by both huge organizations like Verizon and CrowdStrike and so on. In all of the reports, you see that like identity is a challenging factor, and specifically machine identity is the hardest part to solve because it's the most complex technology. So there is a huge also not only business risk, but also very much material risk to customers' data and to personal data exposure that if managed incorrectly could create like catastrophic results.
So I'd love to ask you about the stages that you're going through as a business. So, anyone that looks at token security, all you'll see is the Series A raise. But we know that as part of that, you've had to build a team pre-revenue. You've had to go and get a bunch of people to join your mission with this vision that you're trying to create in the world and what that could mean for the world and also for them personally. You've then had to go and get a bunch of investors to go and give you their money based on this dream, before you even had any real track record to go and support other than your own background. So let's really unpack that for people. So when you're starting the business and you're getting those first team members and you're starting to raise some capital. Talk to us about your approach to both of those things and what went well.
A fantastic question. So, first of all, it was a humbling experience because you are two people that rely. Yeah, it's a very humbling experience. You're two people that don't have like that have a dream to build something, and probably like there are a million other people that have a dream. So why you? So you need to first of all be quite um you need to have a lot of belief in what you are building, and also to understand that you are going to hustle and grind until that dream comes true. We had a lot of work, and the first work was actually with customers. It wasn't yet attracting engineers or researchers. It wasn't talking to venture capital. It was making sure that we really hit the spot and really understood what the customers need. And then once you have that, you have like a valid proof. You have like evidence that people want what you're building and that it would solve a pain and solve a challenge for them. Then you start, like everything starts from the customer. Everything that you do needs to understand that you are coming as a person, and like both hearing them out and convincing them like to talk about that problem. Once you get that trust, you can start working on other things like raising capital, and it's all part of like, building that organization around you. So after we got that customer trust, we both, exactly as you said, like started like talking with other people that we can take responsibility for what we're saying and like join our team, and also started to talk about like funding opportunities for us to be able to pay those people's salaries and like to start building the product that we wanted. So that was a lot around the seed story, was that we had a great customer trust.
How many no's did you get as part of that seed round?
A lot. Not necessarily from like we didn't go to raise the round. Like it took us about 8 months of working very intensely from our living rooms and from our, like as people like to call it, from our garage, talking with customers. And we got a lot of no's, but those were like things that were very much educating for us, because we didn't want we wanted to gain real traction with them, and we wanted to understand that it's a very important for them. So the idea changed also a lot when we went to raise capital. So yeah, like the relationship between VCs and entrepreneurs is like Venus and Mars. I don't know how to say it. Like it's just two different planets, people speaking in complete different languages, doing this courting dance that is hard. When it clicks. Like TLV Partners, the VC that led our series seed, is people that we know from the first meeting that we want to work with them, and we just had to work out the details, nothing more than that. I think that both of us really attracted each other, and it worked very, very well.
What was your criteria when you were looking for seed? When you were looking for seed round, what was your criteria that you were looking for in an investor?
I think that there is a base criteria of like a personal connection and like the ability. So now we are not an investor and a founder. We are a board of directors that manage like this organization. And so Ron, our partner, and Brian, that's also a partner from TLV Partners, were both needed to share some of the values that we feel that are important for us. So first of all, personal connection. Second of all, their ability to give oversight and guidance. Like founders are so certain that they are right that you need sometimes to hear a different opinion. So we needed them to be a bit different than us. And third is that we needed like a track record of success, and TLV Partners is one of the most successful VCs in Israel. So we wanted to understand that it's not only our personal feeling, but that there is a data that proves that it's a good decision for all of us.
Ido, a thing I would be really fascinated about is in this market, all of the rhetoric is it's really hard to raise funds. Most startups that raise some capital really struggle to raise again. The succession rate or graduation rate from a seed to Series A is 50%. So 50% of seed founders will never raise again. So you not only achieved your seed funding, but now you've got your Series A at 20 million. Massive, massive amount of trust that people have put into you to go and make your vision come true. Talk us through what that takes in reality, like bring us into the fly on the wall version of how you actually went about raising Series A in this climate.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's not a trivial climate for entrepreneurs in terms of fundraising. I think that we did some things very, very well to end up with this result. And I think that, so just to explain, like, did I see the journey to there? First of all, we were both humble but resourceful in like sense raising the seed round. I think that we invested our resources very, very thoughtfully in building the best product that we can, and also advocating token as the leader in the anonymous identity market. And that led to attraction. We started interacting with customers, and we got into this in front of this investment group called SVCI. Those were some of the biggest, or they are like an investment group out of the Bay Area of some of the biggest companies in the world, like the CISO of Adobe and the CISO of Elastic, of Coinbase, and so on. And they wanted to invest in our space because it's a very, very emerging space, and it's very important for the world to have it right. And they picked us, like they looked between 12 different companies that are working in this space, and they picked us as the most promising one in terms of like product execution and promise for like a real change in their organization. And that is a huge vote of confidence. Like, think about a group of about 60 CISOs that are saying like, I want this product and I want to put my money on it. And it's not only the budget of their executives, it's like their personal investment. And that led to a lot of attention, which eventually we drew a lot of attention from a lot of different VCs, but the one that we liked the most and that had the best partnership with us was Notable Capital. And they are an amazing VC. They led the HashiCorp's A round. They invested in Airbnb and Slack, and they have like all of these. They really look at the world the same as us, as a world that needs change, and that like they have been driving a lot of different amazing innovations through different companies. And together we decided that it was good to make it even earlier than we thought. We had a plan just to start our Series A fundraising journey only next month, like in March. But when we met them, we thought that like there are things that it's not good for you to wait. It's not like an avocado that you may wait until that it's be ready. You need to like jump on it, and like you need to a little bit commit also to do things faster than you're doing today. Yeah. So that was a great opportunity, and we decided to go with them.
It's a bit of like the Michelangelo effect from them, right? They're seeing within you all of the potential that we can go and make this happen, which I love. I was just wondering when you're thinking about that process. So, you know, you're not going, right, we need to go and raise some money. You know, we just need some funds to keep this thing going. It's not like you're doing it out of panic because you just need more runway. What was your mentality towards the raise, towards what Series A meant for your business?
I was excited because I think that, first of all, I think that living like that we build token culturally in a way that people never feel that they don't have the resources for what they need, even though that they know that all of those resources are very, very precious. So the mentality is that now we can do more. I'm talking with you and we're building like our marketing operation because it's important for us to give back and for people to hear what's our philosophy, what value do we bring to the world, and it could expand our operation. We can meet them where they are. People don't need to look like online. We're coming to the events that are right by their by their houses or their companies, and we are interacting with them directly. We also started building the trailblazing sales operation team that both the executives and the sales engineers that are driving this motion forward, because we believe in what we do, and these resources could allow us a little bit more room to breathe, but they are very much invested back in giving back to our customers and making them as happy as possible.
I love that. I think that one of the big patterns I've seen between businesses that are successful and the ones who fail are whether they see people as costs or investments. And people feel that. Like, you must have worked with people before, and you knew that they treated people like costs, even if they never said it out loud. People can feel that. But what they can also feel when you see them as an investment, when you're seeing their ability to multiply your business. And I know that when we were talking in the green room before this, I talked about how our philosophy at Tick Talent is that hiring is very simple, not easy, but simple. People either subtract, divide, add, or multiply. And every bad hire that a business makes reduces the impact. It can create islands. It can divide businesses and create silos, all those things that slow big businesses down and stop startups from graduating to the next stage. But when you get the hiring right, you're adding to the capability, you're filling in gaps, you're strengthening what you've got. And then if you can get the multipliers, the ones who can see your business bigger than it is, who can have that vision for your business, who can understand the how to go and take you to the next level, multiply the capability of everyone through compound growth. That's where the magic is. How are you, as a co-founder of this business, with more resources than you've had before, but still nowhere near the resources of some of the massive players within this space that you aspire to be like one day, how are you picking multipliers and avoiding the dividers and the subtractors?
That's a great question. So, first of all, it's important to explain what my role as a co-founder is. Basically, I think that a co-founder in any startup is a chief catalyst officer. Basically, you need to make things run faster to get the velocity that you need in order to, escape gravity and get to the moon. And you need it in a lot of different places. We started out at just Itamar and myself. We built out the product team. Now we're building the sales and marketing operation. So building out, and everywhere that you needed to make things go faster. But then, not possible to do it by yourself. I think that the people that would enjoy joining a startup and would have the most benefit out of it is people that could come and have the best time of their life, make new friends, make a huge amount of money, advance their career to new heights. And I'm here to push them towards it. That's why as a startup, you always invest in potential much more than you invest in experience. Like, you're trying to get senior, like people in enough seniority to be able not to make mistakes that were already done. But you need always to invest in potential, because the trajectory of multipliers, as you said, is something that you as a founder is responsible to push those people forward. So you're looking for those people that could go very, very high up, and that they didn't expect that their career would take such a shift. You bring someone that he was even in a junior position before, and in 4 months, you don't recognize any of that junior behavior. You already see him advancing to the next level, and you know that in 8 months, they will be a different person, and in 2 years. And sometimes it doesn't work. Not every hiring decision is made right, but in the times that it works, exactly as you said, it's a multiplier and not anything else.
I love it. Let's say someone was watching this and they're thinking about joining your business. Maybe they're watching this as part of an interview preparation. What's the thing that you would say to them about why this is such an exciting opportunity for their career?
Yeah. First of all, I wouldn't sell them the opportunity. I would try to find alignment with them. I don't want to sell people the reason to come to work to talk, and I want to make sure that them and the company is aligned to what they are looking for. So what I would tell them is that, first of all, they need to come in order to create a company that focuses on each other, on the people that are in the center. They need to be a human first kind of person, because the people here would make their success a priority. My colleagues and my employees have a personal responsibility to each other to make the other ones career soar and succeed. So that's a core value here. And the second part is that they would be working alongside with one of the most professional companies that I worked with in my life. Like, I think that we have people of extreme talent and also of extreme dedication to take ownership of what they do and to build the best product that they can. So those two elements, one is like the human element of pushing each other to succeed, and the second is investing my own personal resource in the company's success, are the two main opportunities for people that want to join us.
Love that. It's focusing on values first, right? First principles and values. And as you scale, keeping those principles and values, the things that got you to where you are, your special sauce, as people would call it, is so important. Let's finish up talking about the big vision for the future, Ido. So I know that this is not the end of your story. This is, like Tolu said, really just the beginning. What's the big vision that you have for the future that you're creating with Token?
I want the company to make a worldwide change and to leave like an impact on the world. I think that I see, and like I look at the past and I see leaders that have changed things and like made things possible, whether it's the people that started Microsoft, the people that founded Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, which is an amazing company, and now up and coming players like Zscaler and Wiz and so on. And I want us to be on that map and in that capacity. Like, I want people to say, wow, Token put identity security on the map and change the balance and like enable the world to adopt technology much faster by providing a safe space to innovate and to build. And I want people to look at us as like the biggest identity security company in the world. But also I want people to be very proud that they work here. You know, in LinkedIn, when you see people's bios, they are saying, I'm ex-Google, ex-Microsoft, ex-Meta. I want them to say I'm ex-Token, because they are proud that they've been part of a company that has an amazing culture and that they worked alongside with amazing people.
Love it. Cool. Well, look, Ido, thank you so much for your time. I think it's a perfect opportunity to end the conversation. I would love to have you back on again to talk about like the next stage and next chapter of your journey, as well as the business's journey. But for now, thank you so much for your time. It's been an amazing opportunity to get into the mind of someone who I believe is building a business that is going to do incredible things, because you're an incredible person and it feels like you're building an incredible team. And that's how you change the world.
Thank you both. I really appreciate both the message that you bring and also for having me and tolerating me for such a long time. But like, jokes aside, I really enjoyed our conversation and I appreciate your time.
Good man.
Thanks so much, Ido. This was awesome. Thanks so much for joining us for the What Makes You Tick podcast. I hope you enjoyed listening as much as I enjoyed having the conversation.
Yeah, there's so much value in hearing other people's career stories. And if you're someone focused on growing in your own career, check out our Growth Magnet newsletter on LinkedIn. We'll put a link in the show notes.
And we will see you on the next episode.